Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into the show. This is another episode of All Eyes on Future Bears. And in case you noticed or you didn't notice, the intro is a little bit different, wasn't it? That is because, we do over here listen to, our supporters that give us feedback. And I enjoy the feedback every single day. And I encourage everybody to give us feedback and give us your thoughts and comments about whatever we're doing over here. And somebody gave us something that was in my head for quite some time. And, even when Chris was still here, I used to tell him all the time, we need to shorten these intros, man. It's too much intro. Oh, I think good intro is good quality. Me and Chris used to argue about that kind of stuff all the time. And so finally someone said to me, in the comment section, is like, hey, Nomad, you know what? You're going to be way better off, man, when you shorten the intros and the preamble and just get right to the business of, football, Chicago Bears football. And I was just like, point taken. And I went right to it, man. So thanks to kids, man, for looking out. All day today we've been trying to get some stuff together, come up with the right little something. And I was very satisfied with a really quick, pithy introduction and just get right to the business of football. So those intros that Chris made, those are classic, man. And those are sentimental to me and all the boys over here at the Nomad Network who loves Chris, man. And those intros ain't going nowhere. We'll use them from time to time. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about any more of the long intros. You can come in here and you can get right onto the content. And speaking about content, I hope you guys are enjoying the new stuff that we've been putting out lately because, that came after a whole bunch of thought. And, it's going to be a lot more where that came from. So anybody that's enjoying that, anybody that isn't subscribed to the channel and looks forward to daily content from a, Bears podcaster, we're going to deliver that every day, man. We're going to get some good stuff out there. So we just now getting started. But before I go any further, let me pass it on to my guy FFG for some pleasantry before we start cooking.
What's up, No Maniacs? How y'all doing this evening? I know we didn't get on yesterday, but everybody was trying to get their little love groove on and show their woman they were special. So tonight, it's all about the Bears. Let's do this. For some reason, I can't see the chat. So all I know is Jason Jones for now, but that's going to be rectified.
I'll give him a quick shout out. The people I see in here right now is Jason Jones. Shout out to Jason Jones. Relentless Mikey, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, but it's really good to see you in there right now, bro. Welcome back in. Jay Grizz is up in the building. My boy Marco King's in here. Juju is in. Jacob on the Don came in hot today. Bears fan Goomba. By the way, Bears fan Goomba is my guy Nick, and he's going to come on next week on Nomad at Night just because he hasn't been on the show in a long time. I hollered at him, and I was just like, dog, you got to come back on the show, man. Come in and give us your thoughts, man. He's been sitting on the outside looking in, with his comments, and, I just can't wait to hear what he's thinking. I don't know when was the last time we talked to each other, but I just want to hear his commentary about everything that's happened since the last time he was on one of the podcasts. So looking forward to that, Nick. Can't wait to see you here next Sunday. But all right, so I cut you off, man. I had to get those. Let me see. Marco King, Juju, Jacob on the Don, Minister Charles just popped up in this baby, Super No Maniac. What's going on, everybody? But go ahead, FFG. You had some comments.
All right, now they just finally trickled in. What's up, Mr. Charles? We're going to talk about some of the ways that we can start to dominate where we need to be dominant at, and that's in the line play. So this is going to be dedicated to the trenches again, because as y'all know, that's where it starts and begins. So let's get into it.
Now, hold on. Up. Behind the scenes, my man FFG is a trip. Behind the scenes, he's wearing it out. Okay. He's wearing it out behind the scenes, talking about the Bears coaches, and he wants to talk about that. Now he gets in here and get gunshot. I told you, man.
All right, so
your cartridge before it's time.
He didn't want me to, because what I looked at is I like the way the coaching staff is being approached. That you have some older veteran coaches teaching certain things to younger, less experienced coaches that aren't going anywhere no time soon. And that's evident in what they did just this week by getting the O-line coach, And to me, that is super smart. Getting Kyle Devan, you're getting a guy who just recently played in the league within the last 10, 15 years, coach for some of the best offensive line situations in the NFL, including the Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl, and Tennessee, who's always had a great offensive line, especially when Vrabel was there. So what you want is young, enthusiastic coaches learning from grizzly old vets. So they're not getting a head coaching job. So they can teach as much to the players and the coaches they're bringing up till they finally just say, hey, you know what? I'm chilling my grandkids from now on. And now you got young, established coaches in the ranks going forward. Same thing with the offensive assistant, quarterbacks coach, Zentis or Zenist, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I mean, another guy was a young, smart mind, was one of the younger coaches be promoted. Now all you're doing is bringing in horses in the stable, getting all these young guys, picking their brain early, letting them discover how the NFL works, how it's going to be. And now for the next 7, 8 years, you got people that can move up into every spot in your organization and your coaching staff, because we got a great mixture of young and old to take over, and then they can teach the next set. Smart.
So Minister Charles had a quick, and we'll get right back to that. Minister Charles had a comment. He said, Nomad, did I hear you say you welcome criticism or critique? Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. That don't mean I don't respond to all the crazy ass shit y'all might be talking about, but I do respect it. You know what I mean? I'm going to always respect anything y'all give us a comment about. Sometimes we get some real good feedback and some real good advice, man. Sometimes people, I know people that view the channel, some of y'all come from a variety of diverse backgrounds and have experience with this, experience with that, and can give, a content creator some advice on how to do a whole bunch of different stuff. So, I mean, it could also be the stuff that I'm talking about, that we're talking about over here. So, yeah, bro, I'm always going to be open and listening to any kind of criticism, bro. Trust me when I tell you. But, one coach that I don't feel like I got a chance to really, I can't think of his name right now, but it was the D-line assistant that came in here. Or is he the D-line coach? But his connections to Auburn is really what stuck out to me. I know he just spent a season in Jacksonville, dealing with those linemen. To me, I think that hire has a little bit more to do than what it appears on the surface. I'm not saying that he's not a qualified defensive line coach, but I think some of his connections in Jacksonville in particular, hint, some of the free agents or maybe some pieces that could be traded off of that D-line. They had an awesome D-line in Jacksonville, number one. Number two, he was just coaching the year before that at Auburn, who has constantly churned out some of the better D tackles in the league. Some of the better D tackles in the league. I'm telling you, Auburn has an awesome track record of churning out really, really good DBs. And I watched him on several interviews, man. I love the way he talks and communicates with his guys, man. You can tell that they're looking for guys that build a connection with those players first, that build that connection, and so that you can really get to the heart and soul of what that individual can bring to the table. So just wanted to point that out before we move forward. Anything else on that particular subject, FFG, before we move?
No, like I said, I think they're really doing a great job of bringing in a wily old vet and a younger cat that can learn from the vet and can all teach the players. So you're going to be able to move on from some of the older regime of this coaching staff in the next 3 to 4 years and have nothing but young bucks biting at the, rest of the league, because now they got their chops nice and juicy and wet. So this is going to be really well conceived if it works out the way I see it.
Well, that is yet to be seen. Any more thoughts about anything else going on with the, anything trade-wise, anything that you want to talk about that you haven't gotten off your chest right quick before we start with these players? There's a lot of stuff in the Bears community that people talking about, like, what is you want to trade for Micah Parsons, who's going to probably get a 40 ball. You know what I mean? What's that going to be like? You want to make a trade for Garrett? You want to make a trade for Myles Garrett? That's going to cost you quite a bit too. And then there's a situation.
Actually, he didn't make much money. They're tied up in that salary cap with his bonuses. So really, you ain't paying him nothing. You're gonna have to pay him. But that's just a waste of draft capital. To me, I'm not trading for nobody now.
Wait. Slow down. What's the waste? What's a waste of draft capital?
If you're gonna give up 2 picks or more, unless you're getting rid of somebody off the team that you're not going to use, especially if you can trade away a piece that's already in the same vicinity as him, then yeah, I'm good. You trade away a defensive end or 2.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on. I gotta challenge you. You said when you say the words, that's a waste of draft capital. You're talking about Micah Parsons. We talking about Myles Garrett. We talking about,
yeah, it is
Max Crosby. I don't think there's a such thing as wasting draft capital on any of those dudes. There's no waste there.
I do, because you could draft multiple guys that can benefit from that scheme and save the team a lot of money. So it's about the less you get based on what you need. And right now we need more than we can afford to trade away to get a special piece. So right at this point in time, it is a waste of draft capital because we're not 1 or 2 players away from going to compete for a championship. You need every piece that you can build upon to build a solid foundation, which they should have did in the first place.
Yeah, it's like this, man. I know this, FFG. I have my virtues on what I see them. I see as the right direction to go. And I know they have theirs. You know what I mean, bro? I wouldn't consider, like, if Ryan Poles made the big leap to try to, go, balls to the wall after Myles Garrett, and he ended up giving up some draft capital, I would not be upset at him for doing that whatsoever. Or Micah Parsons or Max Crosby. Or
I wouldn't get Micah Parsons. Of all them people, he wouldn't be the one I would go after.
I mean, that's again our virtues versus people in the front office that have to do their business, and that leaves us to having conversations about what I would have did versus what you wouldn't have did. I mean, it's all good for banter back and forth about what you think is the right thing to do versus me or anybody else, man. You know what I mean? It's all great for conversation, but I can tell you right now, those are grown men in that office, and whatever they do, we doomed to deal with it. And so I'm getting on board with whatever they decide to do. I'll give my commentary about any of it. But I think any one of those guys is a can't miss. But I don't think personally that he needs to do that right now. I don't really think we're there yet.
Well, if you can get away with it, it's great. But right now we couldn't get away with it, especially trading away the future when you need it for now, because that's what they did last year when they traded away the future and get all of them. They wasted 2 picks, almost 3 picks on one player that didn't play, one player that was beat up most of the season, another player who was a rotational guy. So that was 3 picks that didn't even get on the field, that we didn't have any backup at any one of the positions that we need right now, and could have got quality backups that could be playing on this team.
I didn't
think about it. The only one that's going to be this team next year is Austin Booker, and he's going to still be a rotational piece. Keenan gone, and Bates is beat up. He getting ready to retire. So that's a waste of money and draft capital.
Number one,
that's why I don't want to have 2 years in a row of that.
Hold on, bro. One of the things I thought Ryan Bates, given that he had some kind of chronic thing going on with his shoulder or his elbow, whichever one that is, Ryan Poles knew that before he brought him in here. And I know for a fact that guy he can play. When he's right, he can play. He can freaking play. I saw the film when he was at Buffalo, looked at every bit of it. The guy was a good signing. What happened since he got to Chicago was just, I just butt crack luck. It's just basically what it is,
Is it butt crack luck with every offensive lineman you bring in?
Again, FFG is, in hindsight, it's easy to be critical, man. You're sitting in the catbird seat, bro. You know what I mean? So, how he went about last offseason, I totally, in all kinds of different ways, didn't agree with it. But I understood it, is what I'm trying to say. if we can
I
get to
understood it,
the
but
movie,
we
then
wasn't
we'd be all
at
right.
that point because we were getting ready to bring in a rookie. Now, if he did that for Justin Fields, I'd have understood a lot more and got the haul and you got every piece plugged up the way Washington went and did it. Got all them draft picks and went and plugged up all them holes with all that money. They went and did it the right way. So now we got some money, and now we got some quality draft capital, turn it into something, and turn it into a team that he really wants it to be, and not trying to go, the fast route like Ryan Pace did. Give it an extra year and be perennial contender instead of a pretender 1 year.
One of these days, we got to get to the point where we got to look at the past and say, you know what, that's what's done. It's done now. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is for me. It's done. All I can do is look forward. That's the healthiest thing for me to do. Looking in hindsight, just a waste of time for me. But I don't get mad at people that feel a certain way about what's happening. I would have definitely done it different. But here I am sitting here doing podcasts versus sitting at Howard Hall making real decisions. That's where we are. So that's what it is, bro. It is that it's out there now. It's done. Now all we can do now is move forward.
Well, I'm with that, but one thing you can do about moving forward is you can learn from the past of the mistakes you made. So don't compound them. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, what happened has happened, but don't compound them. Make the smart decision. Now you got some extra time. Now build out what you wanted, and now you can actually have the team that you wanted that can compete for here on out instead of just right away. If that works out right away, you know what I mean? But you got to build something. And I think he stopped building, trying to make, he did some, quick kind of turnaround type of deals that didn't all work out. And it happens. Now you got to go back to the foundation again, put that brick and mortar back in your back and get it stacked. And now we can rise to the top. So once you get that foundation, you can build up.
So let me set this up the right way. Put this graphic up here and show people what, in my opinion, and I don't think anybody would disagree with what I'm about to say here. I think if you've seen the video earlier today when I was talking about simplifying the game for the offense and Caleb Williams, part of that conversation was, if you saw that video, was me talking about beefing up in the trenches. And, the Eagles laid out the most plain, foolproof blueprint that I can ever imagine as far as a way to go. The next move, what to do moving forward. What's your next step, Ryan Poles? Beef this offensive line up. That's the idea. And so the idea and the concept around doing this Trench Bully show was to really focus on the interior of both sides of the ball. I'm talking about guards and I'm talking about D tackles, those types of players. So that's what you're going to see for the majority moving forward. I'm going to really get into some big, people movers. You know what I mean? So I think that's, this is the champs right here we're looking at. They showed you the blueprint. And so today, this show was inspired by the Eagles win. And so before we move forward and I get to start doing these players, anything you want to speak on as far as this goes, FFG?
No, I think this is the number one area that we need to improve on our team. Hands down. Now we got some quality coaches in there that can teach line play. So it should work out for the best on both sides of the ball going forward.
You know what, Bears fan Guma Nick says the Bears need to draft a good young center. It still sucks that they didn't try to get Zach Frazier last year. He was awesome for the Steelers. Yes, he was a standout for the Steelers, as a matter of fact. But, in this particular episode of Trench Bullies, which makes me probably going to have to make a Trench Bullies part 2, is I didn't do centers this time. I really want to focus on the guards and, some of the tackles that can transition to guard. And because I don't feel like we got enough of those out there so far. I think we did a whole bunch of tackles. We did a whole bunch of other position, groups. But I think it's been, if anybody's been watching these shows so far, I think it was guard light so far. So I really, really went in on the guard position in this for this show. So without further ado, FFG, any more comments before we get started?
Now, man, let's get into the big boys.
All right, I'm gonna pull you down for a minute and get cracking, man. I'll bring you back in here shortly. Cool?
Yeah, we good.
All right. Let's get it cracking, man. Let me pull up the first player. This is Holland Pierce, left tackle for Rutgers, 6'8", 354 pounds. He's a sophomore. He's a young boy, but he's huge. And I mean, when I tell you he's a road grader, that's what he is, man. Now, he's listed as a tackle. He's going to go into this draft as a tackle. Anybody, if he, like, say, for instance, he goes to the combine and people will see him doing, tackle drills. I don't think he's going to translate in the NFL to tackle because I think his kick slide, his kick step is a little lethargic. His feet are a little bit heavy. But that kind of guy with his kind of traits makes him the perfect guy to kick inside for guard. He's the perfect kind of guy. He's long. He's powerful. I mean, he's a road grader, enormous frame, battering ram as a run blocker. And I mean that 110%. Holland Pierce is a battering ram. Long arms and can transition to guard. I mean, his film was pretty locked down, man. I know that he has the foot quickness problem and the kick slide problem, but it didn't really show up as much as I thought it would on tape. I looked at some reviews on him before I started looking at the film, and I was expecting to see a certain something. And when I seen it on film, probably the worst thing that I saw was the second move and his inability with his foot quickness to be able to respond to it. If I had to give a bad critique to him, but to me, that's the reason why you protect a guy like that. I think Mekhi Becton, similar kind of body, suffered the same exact thing. He was big and he suffered, with the smaller, quicker guys that can go from one move to the next and go from outside, inside on them and transition on them. It was, for a guy that big, that's hard to deal with. So I'm calling it right now. I think Holland Pierce is going to be a stud. Not only is he going to be a stud, I think the best position for him to go into is guard. I think he's going to be a lockdown guard for a running type of team, which we are projecting ourselves to be. This is a stud. This is a stud football player right here. Enormous. And I mean, if you really want dominance in the run game, hey, this is the kind of guy you want to look at, man. This dude, hey, he takes no shorts from nobody. He's dominant in the trenches. Absolutely dominant. Check out Holland Pierce from Rutgers, 6'8", 354-pound sophomore, man. You're not going to be disappointed. Just remember, thinking about the transition to guard, kicking him inside. This is the last thing I will leave you with Holland Pierce before we get to the next guy. Tackle Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, 6'7", 322-pound senior. This dude is, we talk about so many offensive linemen, and there's about 5 to 7 offensive linemen that every podcaster wants to talk about and every reporter wants to talk about. But there's so many guys like this cat right here, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, that gets lost in the sauce, man. But this is a blue chip talent right here. This is one of those guys that, again, we're talking about versatility. He's versatile, durable. He played a lot of snaps in Florida, a whole lot of snaps in Florida. And he's a brick wall in the passing game and the run game. You can play left or right tackle. I mean, he really excels at pass pro. And so, where he ends up being drafted, what side of the ball he ends up playing, whether or not they keep him at tackle or play him at guard, I think you got some position versatility, and I think that's the key with Brandon Crenshaw Dixon is his position versatility. He can go pretty much anywhere along that offensive line, I think minus center, and give you great quality production. This is a dude that you probably should take a look at on film, man, and you're going to see blue chip traits. At 6'7", 322 pounds, he's got heavy hands, great quickness, really, really good athlete, man. So this is another one of those slept-on guys, man, that a lot of people aren't talking about, but that's why you got the Nomad Network putting it out here in front of you. But let me stop for a second and get to a couple of comments. Let me see here. Icecraft says development is the key. I don't know who you were talking about, Flex Diggs, when you say dude is huge. Both of those dudes are huge. Let me see here. Joseph Archer says, Nomad, do you think he can play left tackle in the NFL? Let me know who you're talking about, which one. If it's Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, I know 110% can play left tackle. You know, Holland Pierce, I think he would struggle playing tackle. But Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, I have no doubt in my mind he can be a lockdown left tackle in the league. No doubt. What's going on, Marlon? Yeah, I told you, Flex D, if we're gonna get to some trench monsters, man, we need some trench bullies. Every one of those two dudes are that in fucking example, bro. Let me see. What up, Smitty? All right, let's get to the next guy. We got a long ways to go. All right. I have a rule of thumb, and this is Jack Nelson, tackle Jack Nelson. He's nasty. I think that's the first thing you would want to say about Jack Nelson. He's 6'7", 315 pounds. He's a senior. Now, the thing about Jack Nelson is he's got pedigree. Number one, his dad was a Wisconsin offensive lineman, and he also got drafted into the league. And so his son is following those footsteps. I want to say his dad got drafted by Jacksonville, but I might be wrong about that. But the cat has pedigree. He's got a solid base foundation for what to work himself in. I mean, when you have a father that is exactly what you're trying to become, what better situation could you have? Number one. Number two, and this was the original point that I wanted to make, was the Big Ten. If I'm looking for an offensive lineman and an offensive lineman of quality, that's the first place I'm going to look, period. Now, get people from the SEC people of the world would argue with me and say that they got better blue chip, bigger, more dominant guys. True. But structurally and fundamentally and technically, some of the better players, offensive linemen in the NFL come from Big Ten teams. I argue with that with anybody. And Jack Nelson is going to be one of those guys. He's big, he's nasty, can play both tackle and guard. And that's what really gives him high value, because every single offensive coordinator is looking for guys that can be position multiple or position versatile. And he's that. I've seen all the reps. He can play both tackle and guard on either side of the ball. And I think he's going to translate more into guard than tackle. And so why I put him up here, I want to project him as being a guard in the NFL. Not saying that he can't get drafted to a team and be a starting left tackle or right tackle on that team. I'm projecting that this guy's going to end up on a team that needs some interior presence. And I think this is where he's going to really, I think it's going to be his real sweet spot because of the nastiness. You really need nasty guys on the interior of that offensive line. And I'm not saying that because he's nasty, he can't play tackle. No, that's not it. I'm saying the interior of that offensive line, you need guys with a certain kind of temperament and an attitude to move people around. And he's only 317 pounds, which isn't particularly what you're looking for, but you can look at the body type and you can add 10 pounds to that easily. Jack Nelson is going to be one of the more quality offensive linemen that comes off the board in this draft. That I can promise you. Whether they project him as a tackle or a guard really doesn't matter to me. But in this situation for us, I would project him as a guard for the Chicago Bears. And that's why I think we need him. But technically, those Big Ten offensive linemen, particularly the ones at Wisconsin and Iowa, those guys are kind of superior to most guys technically. And that's what I would say about Jack Nelson. I think he'd be a strong candidate to switch and play guard in the NFL, man. I love this football play. Let's get to the next guy. You want to talk about a real sleeper? Now, I got the measurements wrong on this card because I was doing a whole bunch of cards, and when you do so many of them, they like kind of blend and run together. And so this guy is actually 6'4". Charles Grant is actually 6'4", 300 pounds even, and he's a senior. And this guy, Mr. Charles, you're going to light up when I tell you this, because I know Minister Charles will have probably had the criticism, man, he's too light. No, man. 6'4", 300 pounds, he's light. And he's going to play guard or center in the NFL because his athleticism is off the chart. But to the point I wanted to make with Minister Charles Grant has a wrestling background, a dominant wrestling background. So he's made for the trenches. He is made for grappling and keeping people away from its target point. It's great anchor for a guy, only 300 pounds. He anchors really, really well. And so, what I would caution everybody, and the easiest thing to do would be to look at 6'4", only 300 pounds, and that be your baseline for your judgment. Look at the guy on film. He's from William and Mary, by the way. He's from William and Mary. Look at how strong this cat is and how athletic he is. I mean, he's a treat to watch on film. Probably one of the top 3 films of offensive linemen that I watched. I mean, he is a real battler, I project Charles Grant, if we were to get him really, really late in the draft, I project him, if we were to grab him, as a center for the Chicago Bears because his athleticism is elite. Elite. His ability to protect the quarterback is elite. Straight up elite. And so that translates to center. It's just the fundamental parts of playing center. I don't know that he has any track record whatsoever of playing center, but looking at his traits and watching that cat play, I know that he can pretty much morph into whatever they need him to be. If it's at center, start letting him take some center reps. But I think this dude is an elite athlete. And I think, for a guy like Ben Johnson that wants a certain kind of offensive line that can really anchor and pass sets, this is the kind of guy you want to look at as a potential project to play center. I'd be happy with him at guard. That's how good I think he is, man. But this is one of these sleepers in the draft that you won't hear nobody else talking about out here. Charles Grant, guard, center, tackle, 6'4", 300 pounds out of William and Mary. Go check out the tape if you want to see some great stuff. Let me get to a couple of comments. Let me see here. What we got? Mayhem, what up, man? Bears, Nick says he knows that wrestling background translates well, man. He's a grappler. He's a grappler, bro. That shit translates well in the NFL. You know it. Let me see. Mr. Charles, he agrees, I guess. He says, actually, that would be ideal weight and height to play center on a highly mobile team, which I think we would be. That's exactly what I said when I was watching the film. I just went straight to projection, and I was just like, this dude would be the perfect center. As athletic as he is and as mobile as you know that they want to be on this offensive line, they want to be in attack mode. And you need athletes to really get after dudes. And he's one. I'm telling you, y'all going to love Charles Grant's film. Love it. Ice Craft says, for some reason, wrestlers make good old linemen. Wrestlers are adept at a certain skill set. I had a couple of dudes that was trying to wrestle me in high school, and I wouldn't fool with them because I know close combat, which is what you do in the trenches. I think that's the key word, close combat, close hand-to-hand combat. They learn to be really, really prolific at that. And that translates well. That translates very well for offensive linemen. And so when I seen that, that he had a wrestling background, I had already watched buku film of this kid. It's hard to find it because it's William and Mary stuff. And once you find it, and then I found out later that he had that wrestling background, I'm just like, oh, I'm sold. Sold. This guy will be a great pick for Chicago later on in the draft. I believe that 110%. Let me see. It's Go 6 Trey. He said the Bears are a cursed franchise after screwing Lovie Smith and Justin Fields. You all are wasting your time like Cubs fans from 1947 to 2024 to 2004. Dog, I felt like that. And there's still a part of me that feels like that's Go 6 Trey. Don't think you talking into the ether. I'm just trying to be optimistic about what we got moving forward. I like what we got moving forward, but I am still pissed about, what happened beforehand. So I ain't mad at you, Sko. Let me see. Joseph Archer, Super No Maniac, says, no matter how many guys are coming out for left tackle if the Bears are going to pick one. How many left tackles are going to be in this draft? I have no idea. I haven't done the tally yet, Joseph. That might be a good exercise for me to do, just to see how many of them are qualified to be drafted. It's going to be several of them that don't make the cut and going to be after draft UDFAs, man. So I haven't really looked at that, to be honest with you. I have no idea. To be plain and simple with you. Let me look at some more of these comments before we get going. Mr. Charles says, you learn a lot about balance control, and countering from wrestling. That is true. One of my little homeboys growing up, he turned into a wrestler. He was a weak little peewee until, one of the wrestling coaches got to him in high school, and he was the little runt that I used to have to protect all the time. He turned into the, pretty much he's like, hey, dude, you can't do nothing to me. And he showed me time after time again, grappling. Man, I was like, when it comes to hands, I'm elite. Now, my hands are elite. I'll rack your ass up. But if he gets, like my boy Steve, he gets some paws on you, talking about wrestling, it's over with. It's over with. That dude was a state champion wrestler, and I knew not to fool with him like that. If we ever got in a fight, if I don't knock him out with the first punch, I'm in trouble, probably if we're real close. But, that's just, I know what you're talking about, Mr. Charles. I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, let's get to the next guy. Let's see here. You want to talk about a guy that's built to be a guard. The possibilities with this big dude right here. Luke Kandra from Cincinnati, 6'4", 323 pounds senior. He's a huge kid. I mean, huge, and he's nasty. His disposition is absolutely nasty. He's looking to run people down, run people over, move people. I mean, he is custom made to move big people around. You got guys. I mean, when I say he's custom made, I mean this guy is structurally sound from top to bottom. Luke Kandra is just a big kid. I mean, his legs are big, they're thick. I mean, bone density, something that Ryan Poles talked about multiple times when people were asking him about certain things that you're looking for. I'm talking about offensive lineman, the bone, or it wasn't bone density. My mistake. He was talking about muscle density. And this guy has every bit of that in spades, and he can move. This guy is going to be probably a day you plug and play him right now at left or right guard, period. It's going to be, he could go to a team that, may want to transition to him at center. I don't see any reason why. I don't have no thoughts on any reason why you would not want to even try that. I think the guy can probably transition to center. But his ability to flex both left and right at guard, he's a lockdown blue chip offensive guard for the NFL. You put him into an NFL team right now and he can be a starter. They're pretty good in Cincinnati with coaching up these offensive linemen. I've noticed that for 10 years. They're getting pretty good at bringing those guys in and developing them and getting to, 6'4", 323 pound senior. I'm telling you, Cincinnati is one of those programs on the offensive line that is highly slept on. There's some huge talent down there. And I'm not done presenting a couple more of those guys are coming up later on. But Cincinnati is starting to become one of those offensive line factories. And Luke Kandra is going to be one of those candidates, plug and play right now, starting left guard, man. He's got everything that Ryan Poles says he's looking for. Muscle density, big guys that can move other people around. Luke Kandra has it all. Every last bit of it. So check this guy out. Guard Luke Kandra from Cincinnati, 6'4", 323 pound senior. Check him out. Let's get to the next play. Nope. Let me get to a couple of comments. Let me see what we got here. Oh. Yeah. Flex Dig says, better hope you got the reach on a wrestler. You sure right about that. Other than that, you in trouble. Bears fan Guma, my boy Nick says, I'm sold, Nomad. Draft them all. The Bears need O-line, all the O-line help they can get. I wish we could get every last one of these guys. I really do. And Minister Charles says Kendrick could be plugged and play right next to right to me. Yes, he could. Yes, he could. Right now, today. Plug and play starting guard right now. That's the kind of pedigree. He's blue chip. He's straight blue chip. When you talk about blue chip, this is what you're looking for. Let me get to the next guy. Another blue chipper. Guard Garen Dellinger, 6'5", 322-pound senior. Can play anyone out. Now, remember, I'm saying this because I've seen it on film. Can play any position along the O-line, and he's stout. Where he really aces the thing, he's really, really stout in pass pro. Not to say that he's not good in the run game. No, he's a power driver. But his tape really stands out when it comes to pass protection. And so talk about a position versatile guy. Again, this is what coaches really, really, they salivate about. Guys that can be multiple. This kid can play. I literally watched him play every single position along the offensive line and play it well. It's not that Garrett Dillinger played these spots because people got hurt or they had some kind of problem at these. No, he played them well. It wasn't that, all right, let's hurry up and get this game over because he's sucking and we got to hurry up and get out of this game. We don't have anybody else to replace him. No, he played it well. Center, left guard, right guard, left tackle, right tackle, every last one of them. Coaches will be salivating for guys like him. Not very many offensive linemen in this draft can say they played every single position on the offensive line and played it well. That's what you got in Garrett Dellinger. Garrett Dellinger is going to be a very, very valuable piece when you look at the totality of the film and you start projecting what this guy can bring to your room. Okay, do we have a need at tackle? Yes. Do we have a need at guard? Yes. Do we have a need at center? Yes. Which position do you project him to be in? Where would you start a guy like him? Like Garrett Dillinger, I would, his first reps, I would say, you know what, you're going to take some center reps. First thing you do in camp. Matter of fact, it's your job to lose. And he could be one of those guys, you put him there and you never look back. But you'll never go wrong playing him at either one of those guard spots. I don't think he's ever going to be an NFL tackle. I know what he was able to do at LSU. He played those spots very well. I don't know that he's going to be an NFL tackle, left or right. But guard center, man, you put that dude at center and you might not ever look back, period. That's how talented this kid is, man. He's got he's got a pretty good IQ too, man. I just loved his film. And he's not the only offensive lineman from LSU I want to talk about tonight. We're going to get to another one here in a minute. But Garrett Dellinger is another blue chip caliber piece that the Bears could draft somewhere between, I guess, if I had to guess, somewhere between second and fourth round. I think he'll still be around. He could still be around in the fourth, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if he came off the board a lot earlier than that. But blue chip piece, 110%. Get to some comments. Let me see. Let me see here. Flex Diggs is asking me a question. He says, Nomad, how much importance do you put on a guy that comes into college and plays great right away as a freshman? And in the SEC, like Will Campbell, Bowers comes to mind. Dude dominated and won chip year one. I think that's not anything to be sneezed at, Flex. If you come in as a freshman and you're a starter in the SEC, in every sense of the word, you're a damn dog. Period. You're just a dog. This is the top. The SEC is the next best thing to the NFL when it comes to talking about the totality and the composite total amount of pure athletes on a team. the SEC, there's nothing better than that. You're starting to see the Big Ten starting to get in that conversation, and they winning championships right about now. And Ohio State was that kind of team this year. But in the SEC, you don't see better competition than you will in the SEC. That's a lot to be said about that, Flex, bro. Straight up. What up, Squalls? What up? Let me see here. All right, let's get to the next guy. We still dealing with the trench monsters on the offensive line. Let's get to the next player. I just made a short video. This is how intrigued I was about Chase Lunt. That I had to single him out on the very first edition of Feed the Bears that I profiled a college player. We're gonna probably do a whole lot more of that moving forward, because me running them down this quick on these shows like this, I'm trying to hurry up and get to a point without being too boring about it and hurry up and keep it moving. But I had to do a small video about him and describing what I think is what you're looking for as far as a type when it comes to a Ben Johnson offense and the type of offensive lineman I know he's looking for that really excel in the wide zone concept. If you go watch UConn film, tackle Chase Lunt, 6'8", 305-pound senior, he will stick out to you like a sore thumb. That dude comes off the ball viciously. I mean, he is vicious when he comes off the ball, and he's athletic and fast. He's got the great foot quickness. And let me just read what I have on the great agility and movement, ability to move around, man. He is really, really mobile, great knees, good bender, quick feet with a lot. He's got a huge upside. So what I said in that video, anybody that watched that and has had the chance to go look at Chase Lunt since then, let me get back into what I said about it. If you saw the thumbnail, that you saw Lane Johnson on the screen next to him, because that's exactly what I kept seeing when I saw Chase Lunt. I saw a young Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson is now he is 6'6", 325 pounds right now at 34 years old. So he got his daddy weight on. You know what I mean? Chase Lunt is 2 inches taller than him now, and 3 pounds heavier than Lane Johnson was when he drafted. And he was drafted in the first round. I think he was like in the top 10 when he was drafted. And so for the people that might think, okay, he's a little bit light to be playing tackle, we need somebody a little bit bigger. I think if you watch the film on Chase Lunt, if you see what he does structurally, mechanically, so clean, and mirrors so well the foot quickness, how he attacks in the run game. I think Ben Johnson is after certain types of guys that really, really get after the offense. I mean, the defense really, really gets after him and turns the table on him. And they really attack downfield. And so here's the thing about Chase Lunt. And if there was a downside to Chase Lunt, this would be it. There's no film on him playing anything but right tackle. And so that's if you want to get down on anything as far as Chase Lunt goes, it's that. Now, I think he is athletically able to play any position along that offensive line he wants to. Any one of them, even left tackle. I think this kid is going to get on somebody's team, and if the right team drafts him, if they give him an opportunity to play right away, I think he's going to be a plug and play, whether it's left, right, wherever he goes, and you're never going to look back. This is how structurally good I think he is. This is one of those sleepers in this draft that nobody's talking about because people are so busy talking about Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks. It's these guys like this from the programs, from these kinds of programs. Some of these teams, like the UConns of the world, the Cincinnatis of the world, these teams don't get a lot of recognition. The UMasses, things like that. They have some really good coaches down at these schools, man. But I'm telling you, this kid right here, if you watch and see it the way I saw it, this dude's going to blow your socks off, man. I'm telling you, Chase Lunt is going to be one of the steals in the draft we're going to be talking about for a long time. I pretty much can guarantee you that. We get to a couple comments. Chris Foster, yep. Yep. All right, let's get to the next player. Let me see where we at. Here is blue chip personified. Guard Myles Garrett, 6'5", 325-pound senior. This dude is so effing powerful. It's a shame. And he's huge. This is the definition of blue chip football player. This is the definition. He explodes off the ball for his size. You don't expect the guy 6'5", 325 pounds to come off the ball as fast as he does. But I mean, he's got an overwhelming presence when he gets onto a guy. It's overwhelming. It's like he's one of those, you ever met one of those people that's big and, grew up with one of those people that's big and he kind of timid, and you have to tell him like, dude, you huge. Like, dude, you don't have to take no shit from nobody. What you taking shit from? Like, you can pound this. Like, certain people like that I grew up with just didn't know their own size, strength, and their ability. Like, this guy, he's a total opposite of that. He's the total opposite. He knows he's big, strong, and powerful and can dominate his space. And that's what you see on film. Completely dominant. I mean, completely dominant. He is a plug and play right the F now, starting left or right guard, period. Probably one of the better ones. And all these people talking about we need to, get Tyler Booker with the first pick. Man, y'all better get the hell on out of here. You can get this guy later on. Miles Frazier is as good or better than Tyler Booker. I put money on that. We got some blue chip pieces that ain't nobody talking about because everybody out here making podcasts and making content is playing follow the effing leader. Do the work. Go out here and look at these guys. Look at this film. This is a quality blue chip piece. Miles Frazier is going to be a stud on the next level. Not just good, he's going to be a stud. He might be one pretty close. I'm almost close to saying he might be the best looking guard I've seen so far. He's right up there. And so before I go any further with that, I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. This dude is going to be an absolute stud on the next level. Plug and play right the hell now. Starting guard on one side or the other, period. Miles Frazier, check him out. 6'5", 325-pound senior out of LSU. Better go take a look at him. Get to a couple of comments. Let me see here. What y'all arguing about now, man? Yes, sir. We getting right to the beef flex digs. Got to find the trench bullies, man. Just getting started. Just getting started. All right, let's pull up the next guy. Hold on. What we got going on here? I think this is the last lineman we got, man, for now. We're gonna probably end up doing a trench bullies part 2, but just understand this. This is just for now. Another guard, 6'6", 310-pound senior from Minnesota, guard Tyler Cooper. He's long. He's pretty long, and he's got a nice frame on him that I think you can look at another 10 pounds with ease with this kid. Another 10 pounds with ease. His body is, I would just say, it's mature, but not fully mature. But who is at his age? He's only like 22 years old. But long frame, nasty in the run game. Telling you, these Big Ten teams have a standard to meet as far as the O-linemen go. It's like you got to come off the ball in the Big Ten and really be dominant up front. And so I emphasize to people, you want to see the really good offensive linemen that really, really translate well on the next level. Not all of them end up being starters, but really, really good quality offensive linemen. More times than not, you'll find the better ones technically come out of the Big Ten. Like the physical blue chip has every trait that you need in an offensive lineman as far as a guard, center, tackle. Those are typically found in the SEC, like the guy Miles Frazier we just put on the board. But this guy is going to be quality. He's going to be quality. He's really good and nasty in the run game. Great technique he plays with, man. And so this is one of those guys that, probably will fall to later rounds in the draft. But I think I'm talking about late when you don't need to be reaching for, guards and things like that. You really want to fortify your offensive line, and you not only want to draft a starter, but you also need some depth. Not saying Tyler Cooper can't be a starter, but he can surely be some good quality depth and great competition in that room. This is another guy that stuck out to me on film, man. They had a couple, 2 or 3 offensive linemen in Minnesota that really stuck out to me. Guard Tyler Cooper, he takes a backseat to nobody as far as what I've seen on film, man. He's one of the better looking guards I've seen in looking at the draft so far. Check him out from Minnesota, 6'6", 310-pound senior, Tyler Cooper. About to get to some D tackles here in a minute. Got a bunch of them. Got the defensive lineman coming, Cornelius. You know I got you covered, man. Don't worry. Let me see. Chris Foster says he's happy this year with Wright and Brax, Trey Smith and free agency, then drafting and starting left guard and center. We'll see. We'll see. All right, y'all want to get to some of them big trench bullies on the other side of the ball? There's going to be some slept-on dudes in here that I think I'm going to try to put them on the map, man. That's what I'm trying to do. Well, hold on one second. My mouse went dead on me again. I got to reset it. Give me a second. Come on. All right, here we go. Here's where I think a lot of people want to see this. This is a very, very slept on football player. Defensive tackle, CJ West, 6'2", 317-pound senior. And, before I get to the descriptions of him, the guy is going to be able to, flex from interior nose guard, which had to play a whole lot of that at Indiana. But I know for a fact, the way I see this guy come off the ball and the way I see him shed tackles and get penetration and get upfield with that burst, he can play some 3-tech right the hell now. And so he's not that big, huge, plodding nose tackle that, a lot of people would expect somebody that plays nose tackle to be. He's very, very athletic. And nobody's talking about it. Violent, explosive burst. That's the first thing that's going to jump out on you when you first start looking at the film on CJ West, is how quick he gets off the ball. And it's explosive and it's violent. I mean, he's playing with a chip on the shoulder, and he's from Chicago. Plays with great pad level. He's low to the ground at 6'2". He plays with good low pad level, and he really wins the leverage battles every time you see him match up against whoever. He's always the lowest man. He's always the lowest man, and that's always the advantage of the defender. If you can get lower than the offensive lineman and you got power and burst, you're going to win that 9 times out of 10. You got to get that going first. Get off the ball, get lower than him, and you're going to win the leverage battle. You pretty much got that offensive lineman at your mercy. And in the trenches, he absolutely dominates his space. One of the more slept-on D tackles in this draft. I don't classify him as strictly a nose tackle. No way, no how. He can give you some 3-tech reps. And so to a Dennis Allen type of football coach, this guy will be highly valuable. He knows he can slide him up and down the line. You may not get edge reps out of him, but between tackles, play, give me some nose guard, give me some 3-tech. I need you to do a little bit of both of those. He is the kind of guy that can get it done, and he's got the body type. He's got the body type that he likes. Dennis Allen likes. CJ West is one of those slept-on 3-techs and nose tackles in this draft that you hear nobody talking about, but holy shit, his film sticks out. Go check him out. 6'2", 317-pound senior out of Indiana, CJ West. Really, really explosive. Look at some comments here. Chris says he wants a bigger guy in the middle. Osama Ben Johnson says, we got some 3-techs coming. Don't worry about it, guys. I'm just giving you guys a description of what I've seen on the film. All of these guys ain't pure 3-techs. Some of these guys are pure noses. Some of them are pure 3-techs. You'll see moving forward exactly what I'm talking about, especially let me see who the next guy is. Let me see. What we got here? Here's another one of those tweeners. Here's another one of those tweeners. Alabama, pure blue chip pedigree. Pure blue chip pedigree. Defensive tackle Tim Smith, 6'4", 314-pound senior. Powerful and very, very stout against the run. He is position versatile. Now, when I say position versatile, I think he can give you, I know he can give you 3 tech reps. He's explosive enough off the ball and can penetrate and get up the field with his power and his leverage. He can give you 3 tech reps. But I think this guy's going to definitely grow into nose guard material, because I think what's going to stick out on film, Tim Smith's film is going to stick out for guys that's looking for a particular kind of player, and that's a nose guard. And I'm not saying, but the fact that he can give you both. Remember, we're talking about there's no reason for me to be putting players on the board and showing you guys people that can't be a fit here in Chicago, because Dennis Allen likes a certain kind of guy. And to play in his defensive front, you got to be a little bit versatile. You got to play up and down that line. And so if it's not 3 tech reps, you're definitely going to play some nose guard sometimes. And this guy, I think his body, I don't want to say he's going to end up being strictly a nose guard. I don't want to say that about him, but because I think he's athletic enough to play any one of those 2 spots. I've seen him take edge reps and just power rush people. And so another one of those probably later round picks that, Dennis Allen is looking at his film like, hey, man, we ain't got to reach for a nose tackle or 3 tech. There's guys there that can be position versatile, and Tim Smith's one of them. From Alabama, 6'4", 314-pound senior. Another guy that's very impressive, and I think the thing that's going to stick out to you about Tim Smith is how stout he is in the run. And so that's why I think, a lot of coaches are going to look at him as a plugger, as a run stuffer. You have a team that may, ask him to go get some 3 tech work, a little outside edge work, once in a while. But I think guys are going to look at him primarily, I'm afraid, as a plugger, because he's that good in the run, right up on the center. And so Tim Smith, go check him out on film too. One of those slept on pieces at Alabama, because they're so talented. People don't pay attention to all the talent that they have down there. He's one of those dudes. Couple of comments. Man, Tim Smith looks, he said he comes off at 315. I don't think he plays at 315. I think he plays more like 320, Mr. Charles, or maybe even more. That's what I think. I don't see, I see this weight and I'm like 315. That don't sound about right. All you got to do is see him on film, and 315, you'll be like, no, he's bigger than that. He's bigger than that. All right. Let me see. Oh, I got Billings' prototype flex, Steve. You just wait this 1 minute. I'm getting to him in a few. You just wait 1 minute, dude. Hang on. Let's get to the next guy. Let me tell you guys something. And I'm hold on. I'm gonna have me a sip of my beverage right quick before I say this. Hold on. Let me tell you guys something. Seen a lot of tape this year. Seen a lot of talk. Had time to look at a couple of podcasts here and there, but I see a lot of thumbnails. See a lot of conversations being had. And not one person is talking about Ty Robinson from Nebraska. This guy might be. Now, when I say might be, I mean this when I say this. He might be the most complete defensive lineman in his class. And that's saying a whole lot. I'm talking about Walter Nolan. I'm talking about, TJ Sanders and all the other people. We're talking about Mason Graham. We're talking about Kenneth Grant. Every last one of them. This guy might be more complete than all of them. I think he is the steal amongst the defensive tackles in this draft. I mean, powerful. I mean, he's 6'6", 310 pounds, a senior. I mean, his power and his presence is so imposing. It is so imposing. And his technique is next level. He's an NFL-ready defensive tackle playing in college. This dude is like I got in this little list of players that I'm gonna show you guys. I got two versions of Cam Hayward, young versions of Cam Hayward coming out right here. But this guy's got 3-tech ability, and he's got nose guard ability. He's proficient at either assignment. Ty Robinson is a stud. He's a real trench bully, and nobody's talking about him. Wait until you guys feast your eyes and watch some film on Ty Robinson. Tell me you're not looking at a Don Dada. And like, why aren't people talking about it? But I'm going to get ahead of everybody before everybody starts talking. Seems like every time I profile a guy nobody's talking about, everybody in the world wants to do a video about it. Great. That's good. Follow the leader. But I'm telling you, this guy, I'm telling you, before we get to the combine and he shows up at the combine and starts wowing people, I am telling you right now, this is the most slept on defensive tackle in this draft, and he might be the most complete one of them all. And I'm not done looking at all the D tackles, but thus far, I think this guy is more complete than all of them. Every last one of them. And he's mean. So I just have to put that out there. I'm gonna get to some comments here in a second, but holy crap, this cat's gonna be a stud. Ty Robinson is going to be a stud. Straight up. Get to a couple of comments here. Let me see. I hear you, Aunt Moss. I can't wait till y'all see Ty Robinson on film. I see all the technique and fundamentals of winning at the line of scrimmage that you can ask for, and he's quick and powerful. I mean, there's like when you playing on the inside and you fighting in the trenches and you talking to trying to get past and move big people that don't want to be moved, you got to be proficient in using your hands in that hand fight and leverage battle and just being able to consistently move upfield. It's hard to find tape where he's getting moved around. This guy wins in the trenches. I'm telling y'all, Ty Robinson is going to blow y'all away. I can't wait till you look at him. Flex Dig said him and Big Dex in the middle. There's nowhere running back to go. I'm telling you, he is that dominant. I'm telling you. I don't know what he did at the Senior Bowl. I know what I seen on tape. I know what I seen on tape, Cornelius. I ain't watched all the Senior Bowl stuff, but I'm telling you right now, that dude's gonna be a stud. I'm telling you now. He might have had a bad week of, competition, but I'm telling you, I know a stud when I see one. That cat's gonna be a stud. All right, let's get to the next guy. We got some more trench monsters to get to. Let's see here. Cornelius Squalls, this is for you, my dog. DT, defensive tackle Darius Alexander, 6'4", 310-pound senior out of Toledo. Let me tell y'all something. Let me just read down the side here. Powerful, an explosion on a different level. Let me just stop right there before I finish. That guy, he seems to be playing with some kind of determination and he's got an edge to him. He's got an edge to him. And the fact, his pad level is another thing that sticks out. He's another guy that gets really good low pad level at 6'4" and is really and wins more times than not. Far more times than not. He wins in double teams. This is one of those guys that, now he's on everybody's radar. He went down to the Senior Bowl and showed out. And, I had him on my list a long time ago. We just now getting to him over here at the Nomad Network, but I was on this cat. It's several of these. Now, this is another thing I want to mention. Some of these mid-major schools like Toledo and places like Ohio, Ohio University and Miami of Ohio, your Marshalls of the world. Like, people look at those schools and something triggers in their mind like lesser quality player. And I think that's the exact wrong way to look at these guys. Like, this cat, Darius Alexander, would be dominant at Georgia. He would be dominant at Alabama, Ohio State. Doesn't matter where he would play at. With the way he plays football, with the low pads and winning the leverage battle. And the second part of this is the lower body is NFL power ready. He's got that. He's a truck down below the waist. He's a straight up truck. I mean, a powerhouse. He's just constantly dead in the pocket. That's what I kept seeing on film. It's like this cat is constantly running people back into the quarterback. He's constantly dead in the pocket. Every time he comes off the ball, he's moving people backwards. He's resetting the line of scrimmage. That's what you're looking for in a 4-3 defensive tackle. A guy that can get in and reset the line of scrimmage and move his guy backwards. That's what you're looking for. Reset the line of scrimmage, send him back. So if we got 4 guys along the defensive line that is resetting the line of scrimmage and dead in the pocket, you're already winning. And this guy has got win after win after win. He's going to be a stud on the next level. You know, hopefully he gets on a team that gives him an opportunity to play right away. Because I've seen many times guys like him, you know, really, really highly touted, really, really talented from some of these mid-major schools go to a team that's got a lot of depth already. Like if he goes to a team like Philadelphia, he's no shot to play. No shot whatsoever. No shot whatsoever. So if he goes to the right situation, he'll find himself on the field early and often. And I think he's going to be if he does get that opportunity early, there's no looking back for Darius Alexander. He's going to be a starter for you for a long time. And so check him out from Toledo, 6'4", 310-pound senior Darius Alexander out of Toledo. One of the more impressive defensive tackles I've seen in the draft so far. And I'm not done, but he is highly impressive, man. I love this kid. Get to a couple of comments. Cornelius was waiting on that one. I had to do it for you, dog. I had to do it for you. Let me see. I didn't do no edge guys this time. I've been doing a lot of edge guys so far, Flexies. I don't know how many of these shows you've seen, but I did a lot of edge guys so far. He says, we need dudes on the edge on this team, especially on the D-line. They're automatically leaders like Akeem Hicks. I think we need to draft a couple of edge rushers, being honest with you. Alex Machado. What up, Alex? Hell yeah, I want me some Bashar Smith too. Shit. That's it. I think they need to draft 2 running backs. Not saying that, DeAndre Swift can't get it done. I believe he 110% can get it done. It's just the offensive line. I just don't think DeAndre Swift is an RB1. I think he's better as a complementary back, to be honest with you. That's just the way I see him, but no less the effective running back. Kids is not, he doesn't do these shows, man. He doesn't, this ain't his bag, man, doing the college stuff. That's just not what he does. And he chooses not to do this. And so I ain't mad at him. Kids will be on with me tomorrow, man. We do Nomad at night. Let me see here. Illinois Jones says he trade up for Mason Graham. Depends on where, I don't know, man. What would you have to give up to get him, though? Let me see here. All right, let me get to the next guy. Let me see. You guys want to see something, man? You want to see Mr. Andrew Billings all over again? You want to see, literally, it's like watching Andrew Billings on film in college. Defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell, 6'1", 340-pound senior. And when I say Andrew Billings, that's exactly what I'm looking at on film. There's multiple players that give me this mindset, and that is Andrew Billings, guys like Kalen Saunders, who also has a track record in New Orleans with Dennis Allen, so he likes these types of players. Kalen Saunders, Poona Fords, players like that. These guys that are very, very unheralded, but these are the guys that really plug your run defense and make everything work. Making sure that your defensive, your 3-tech gets his one-on-ones and he's able to penetrate and make plays. But if it wasn't for guys like defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell, 6'1", 340 pounds, none of the stuff works. You saw how Javon Dexter got lost in the sauce. the minute Andrew Billings went down. In order for the 3-tech to really be able to do this job, you got to have dudes that can absorb a double team. And this dude he's going to be a stud D tackle, nose tackle in this league. That's what he is a nose tackle. He's got a surprising burst for a guy his size. That's what really stuck out to me. How well he plugs the run and how nice his burst was. It reminded me of Andrew Billings. Like Andrew Billings really gets off the ball and forces that offensive line to either combo block him, never going to block him one-on-one. And if you do, you're expecting to lose, and that ball is going way away from Andrew Billings. You're definitely not going to run the ball in the middle against, to somebody that's blocking Andrew Billings one-on-one. Same thing with this guy, Jamari Caldwell. Same thing. You're not going to run the ball up the middle with somebody blocking him one-on-one. You're going to combo block him and try to move him out of the play, and he does a great job of anchoring down and not allowing you to do that. And still winning. I think he's a blue chip nose tackle. Understand what I just said? A blue chip nose tackle. You got blue chip 3-techs. Why can't you have blue chip nose tackles? He's one of them dudes. Got the bottom on him, that rump. He is built to play nose tackle and can get off the ball at times and really get up the field if the opportunity presents itself. He's one-on-one. You trying to block this dude one-on-one, he'll get past that burst. He'll get right on past you. Impressive on film, man. I mean, when I start looking for guys that can really help our run defense, this guy really sticks out to me. Defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell, 6'1", 340-pound senior out of Oregon, stud nose tackle. So go check him out. Get to a couple of comments. See here. It's a pure nose, Mr. Charles. He's a pure nose. Fire plug, exactly. Let me see. You know what, Illinois Jones? I stopped short of doing that all the time, man. He says, Illinois Jones says, where are people projected to be drafted? Most of them are second rounders. You just don't know how somebody's board is looking. I think it's kind of cocky, and I think I know everything kind of mindset to even really be projecting these guys. Like, who the fuck do I think I am? Am I looking at all 32 teams board? This is what I want to project them, what round they're going to go into, because I know everything. I don't know shit about where these guys might get. And I'm not screaming at you, Illy. I'm just, I have no idea on where these guys might get drafted. No idea. All I know is the quality of play. That's all I know. These are some good quality football players. I have no idea where they might get drafted. Really depends on how the draft kind of falls and what these team needs are. You know what I mean? It depends on what team is, up next to pick. He could go from a team, like, think about a team that really couldn't stop the run this year, like Chicago. How highly would we value this kid? You know what I mean? So there's no telling how high he might get drafted in Chicago. Dennis Allen might say, you know what, we might be able to wait till third, fourth round to get this guy. But hold on. This defensive tackles are coming off the board right now. Nose guards in particular are coming off the board right now. Better hurry up and get them. So that's how the draft actually works. Wherever you think this guy might get drafted, things could change and at the turn of a dime. All right. Let me get to the next guy. I don't know if I did this guy already, but it's worth doing it again. I'll tell you that much. Defensive tackle Derek Harmon out of Oregon, 6'5", 310-pound junior. Big, strong, violent hands. I mean, he is superiorly strong upper body. Lower body, he's impactful too. He's got those violent hands, I think, really sticks out to me, man. He's got that swim move. And that's, if I had to give you guys something as a true takeaway about Derek Harmon, is gonna be how often he wins with that swim move. That's what really stuck out on film to me watching this kid. It's like, man, it's like watching him play an offensive lineman trying to block him, knowing it's one of those pass rushing downs where he needs to get upfield and get after the quarterback. How many times is he's gonna swim move you and you can't do anything about it? You know why you can't do nothing about it? Because it's powerful. He's really, really strong in his arms and his upper body. And when he swims over, guys, he just completely discombobulates the cat that he's competing against because he's got superior strength to them. And so that's what really, really, it's just really powerful hands and arms, man. Knocks guys off him with ease. It's just, he's just really, really strong in his upper body. He's got some good twitch to him, too. You'll find him getting up the field really, really fast. And he's just one of those 3 techs. And this guy, I think, and this is me not trying to do any serious draft projection, but I do think he's going to come off he's going to get drafted earlier than a lot of people think. I think he's going to be probably in the first 5 to 10 defensive tackles taken off the board, period. I think he's going to be, I think his traits are pointing nothing but upwards, man. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get more powerful. He's going to get more position versatile. He's going to give you some nose tech reps. I mean, his body's just going to get bigger and stronger. He's going to be a stud athlete, man, on an NFL level, man. I think he, 3 tech, until I see somebody stop him with that swim move, then I think he can win on the NFL level with that. Maybe add a spin move to it to counter it or something, whatever it is. But he's got one move I know that is dominant and translatable to the NFL and the starting quality 3 tech reps. And he's got it. That swim move is absolutely dominant. So check Derek Harmon out, 6'5", 310-pound junior out of Oregon. Let me see here. Let me see. Illinois Jones is talking about, let me see. Hold on. Let me get that down. I'm looking at some of you guys' comments, man. I can't get to them all, y'all. I'm doing this one by myself. I can't get to them all. One of these days we'll have Nick back in the saddle. He can get some more of these comments. All right, let me get to the next guy. Let me tell you guys a story. This is defensive tackle J.J. Pegues, 6'2", 315-pound junior. Now, before I get to his measurables and his traits and what I've seen on film, let me tell you where this guy came from. He came to college, signed a scholarship, I think it was Auburn, as a tight end. So he was a 300-pound tight end coming into Auburn. And I think I got his measurements wrong. I don't think he's 315 pounds. I think he's more like 325 pounds. But holy crap, this dude is an athlete. You come in and get a 4-year scholarship to a top program like Auburn playing tight end at 300 pounds. That should tell people some things. He's a pure athlete. He has played, I've seen him play quarterback. I've seen him play running back. I've seen him play tight end. I've seen him do it all. J.J. Pegues is a special athlete. I mean, pure special. Anywhere on the defensive line, he can give you reps. I mean, from nose tackle to 3 tech to even edge rusher at 15 to 325, which I think is his playing weight. This dude is a special athlete. Position versatile should be the name on the back of that jersey. Take Pegues off. Position versatile. A smart team and a creative team, like you got a leader like Ben Johnson. This guy, they're gonna see that film and they're gonna find out different ways to apply this guy. This guy is not only gonna be playing on the defensive line, they're gonna find ways to put the ball in this cat's hand on goal line situations. Let him play some wildcat quarterback. He did it all. This is a special talent. I mean, extremely special. Pure athlete, former tight end, extremely versatile, and a consistent winner in the trenches. That's another thing that's going to stand out to you. I said all these other things on the perimeter of what somebody's going to actually draft him to do. They're going to draft him primarily to be a tackle. Yes, defensive tackle. And he's going to do it well. Stop in the run game and can get upfield and penetrate and really get after the quarterback too. He's a special athlete. There's nothing this kid can't do. And so if you draft a JJ Pegues to be defensive tackle, just be prepared to know that that's not the end all with him. You got to be open-minded and creative when you got a talent of this caliber. You talking about, guys like Travis Hunter, the Travis Hunters of the world that can play both sides of the ball. Nobody's talking about JJ Pegues. He can actually literally play both sides of the ball, fullback, tight end, running back, quarterback. He can do it all. This is a special, special talent. And I hope you guys take the time to look at his film. And yes, again, of course, he's going to get drafted as a defensive tackle, but that's not the end of the story with him. It shouldn't be. Whoever drafts him should be hopefully talented enough and creative enough to know what you can do with a guy of his caliber, man. It's hard to find dudes this big, this talented, man. Just he's a unicorn. That's the best way to describe him. JJ Pegues is a unicorn. That being said, check him out when you got some time. That is a Ben Johnson guy. You just get creative and creative as you want to be. What's up, AC? I'm trying Flex Diggs. I got a couple more guys to go. I think. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm definitely digging in, bro. I'm glad that y'all can appreciate it, man. I do this work for y'all, man. It's not work when you can give it to people that really appreciate what you're doing. We still about 3 more players to go. Here's the next guy. 3 tech for sure. Edge rusher can give you those reps too. DT Simeon Barrow, defensive tackle Simeon Barrow out of Miami, 6'3", 290-pound senior. Let me tell you again, there's a lot of people having a whole bunch of conversations about a certain handful of players. And you get to thinking that there's no more, really talented guys at their position in the draft. And so again, this is where we come in. Defensive tackle, Simeon Barrow. I think he's listed as an edge rusher. But you're talking about a Dennis Allen type of defense. You need to be position versatile. And he is everything and a bag of chips. Extremely explosive and violent. That burst and his get off, and CJ West had a nasty get off. Great get off. And it's pretty urgent, but this one is violent. Simeon Barrow is violent off the ball. And that versatility to boot, knowing that you can put him out and get you some edge reps, and he's just going to straight up pile drive whoever's in front of him and move him back into the quarterback at the edge. He is so underrated. How people aren't talking about him being in the top echelon of the defensive tackles / defensive ends, because I think we're gonna end up in the next couple of years in this territory where the classification of a defensive end and an edge rusher is going to kind of get blended. Because I believe, and I've always believed, if you're going to get a defensive lineman to play a role, that can't be the only role he plays. He needs to be able to flex out and move, and so that the rotation is good and so people remain fresh. This dude is the epitome of position versatile. He's up in that neighborhood with TJ Sanders. He's very position versatile. Defensive tackle Simeon Barrow is up there in that top category of one of the most slept on defensive tackles in this draft. He's right there with Ty Robinson. Right there. Nobody talking about it. But Simeon Barrow is a dog. The violence that he plays with is what coaches really, really look for. The way he comes off the ball with that urgency and that intent, he knows he's a dominant. He knows he needs to play dominant and really be dominant in his space. And you see that in this game, and it's obvious. Very, very high on this film, man. This is one of those guys I definitely recommend you go check out some reps of his at Miami. If you only look at the highlights, I'd be okay with that. Or you go look at a couple of games and watch the consistency of how explosive he is, I'd be really pleased with that, just to see somebody go and take some time to look at him, man. But, I understand if you don't have the patience and the time to do that. But I'm telling you, he's a treat to watch on film. Check out Simeon Barrow, 6'3", 290-pound senior out of Miami. Very position versatile. The definition of it. Love this kid. Get some of this stuff. Let me see. 290-pound edge is big, but they those exist, man. 290-pound edges exist. They exist. And Noy Jones says mainstream media says defensive line and running back positions are deep this year. I agree with the defensive line. Running back, I'm not done with those guys yet either, man. I got some guys I need to look at more. I wouldn't say the running back position is as deep as people want to make it out to be. I don't see any. It's only a couple like special that I think are some special talents. There's no Barry Sanders. There's no Walter Paytons. I think Damian Martinez is that dude. And I love Devin Neal. There's a couple other guys I really, really like. The Brashard Smiths. It's a few other guys, but there is some high level talent at running back. But calling it deep, I don't know. I might be taking it a little too far for me. MC Fact says he'd like to see more weight on Barrow. Wait till you see him. Like his. That's what's tricky about when you look at the measurements and then you look at the film. MC Fact, when you watch him on film, you won't. That lower body, when you see his lower body, you're going to be like, that MF ain't no 290 pounds. That's a 300 pounder. You're going to say that's a 300 pounder. How is he playing edge? Because he's that quick and explosive off the ball. And he doesn't have to have, hella pass rush move. He can just outpower everybody over there. And he's got a swim over move to complete it. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, you're going to be pleasantly surprised, MC Fact, when you go look at that film. Tell you right now. Look at a couple more comments. What's up, Torian Blunt? He says running back is deep, and you need to watch more running back film. I said I ain't done watching it, and I think the way people classify deep and the way I see it, probably just two different things. Like I'm looking, when you say deep, I don't want to see a whole lot of damn special. And I only see a couple special cats in there, really, to be honest with you. I think they're all just normal running backs, to be honest with you. I'm looking for special. That's just my take on it. Thank you, Mr. Charles. He says, don't ignore hitting the like button, people. Make sure you do that for us, man. Make sure anybody listening that haven't subscribed to the channel, we ask that you do that, man, and really help us out. We're trying to pump out daily content and giving you guys every bit of the Bears content that you can stomach. And so I think we're earning the content. Earning the subscribes and the likes, man. Just make sure you hit that button for us. We would really appreciate that. And let me get to the next guy. We're not done yet. We're not done. This is a particular kind of player. This is defensive tackle Cam Jackson out of Florida, 6'6", 342-pound senior. Huge frame, long arms. Now, before I go to the rest of the comments about this guy, one thing that's going to stick out to you is he plays with a very high pad level. But how can you not play at a high pad level when you're 6'6"? It's not that he doesn't win. He's the way he stuffs the run game. The way he stuffs the run game tells you everything that I need to say about this guy. He wouldn't be on this board right now for me if he wasn't stopping the run game, because you got big, heavy guys, tall, heavy guys. It'd just be big, soft wimps. No, this guy knows his role. He's a nose tackle. He is a nose tackle. And that's what, and he plays with some temperament too, man. He's got a little salty in him, man. And I ain't gonna say a little. I think he's got a lot of salty in him, man. He finishes those run plays, and he's not trying to be nice to those guys when he finishes. And so I love the chippiness he plays with and how stout his anchor is, man. And he's a pure nose tackle. Cam Jackson is a pure nose tackle. Let's make no mistakes about it. No, he can't translate to a 3-tech. But this dude is going to be stout, like Akeem Hicks level stout against the run for a long time in this league. And this is the kind of guy that, that's that immovable object that most defensive coordinators are looking for. I need you to do one job, Cam. I need you to be great against the run, stout against the run, control the gap up front in front of you. Whether it's one gap, two gap, whatever it is, control it. Make the running back go elsewhere. That's what guys like him do. He's a specialty kind of player. You need a nose guard, you need a big plug nose guard. This dude is going to plug the run for years for people. And he's got Akeem Hicks type of, he's that kind of body type. He might be bigger than Akeem. So check this guy out. Cam Jackson is a particular kind of player. He's a nose tackle. He's a big ugly. He's a trench bully. That's what he does, man. He's an interior defensive tackle. 6'6", 342-pound senior Cam Jackson. Check him out. You might like that film if you're looking for nose tackles. Javon Dexter 2.0. Nah, Javon's a 3-tech and got nose ability too. Let me see. And MC Fact says no. Bartow, okay. I think he's talking about Barrow. Defensive. I thought he was a D tackle. His weight is fine. My bad. Let me see. Christopher House says no matter where you get that dude from, man. You just gotta look. I look at every team, man. And it's still a whole bunch of, like, the mid-majors is the next level that I'm getting ready to go to. Some of the players down at your Louisiana Tech, and there's so many different schools. I mean, Akron, different mid-major teams. There's some stud. There's only so many scholarships that can be given out on a team. Let's just say somebody grew up in Georgia, somewhere in South Georgia, and always wanted to play on the Bulldogs, and he didn't make the cut as one of those guys that they offer scholarships to. These guys are going to end up somewhere else. Stud football player playing on a mid-major team. And these days, some of those teams will kick some of the top teams' ass. There's some studs down there. I'm telling you, it's going to be some studs out of like Charlotte and Buffalo. I'm telling you, I'm about to bring it. You're going to see some studs on this thing. This is just scratching the surface. This is just some of the major teams right now. Wait till I get to some of these studs from them smaller schools. I'm going to show y'all something, man. I'll do my homework. Let's get to the next guy. Now, this guy right here. Now, it looks like Yaya Black, defensive tackle. His name is Y.A. Black. It's Y.A. Black. I think he's got, he might have some Native American or some Polynesian in him. I mentioned this early talking about another player, and that was Ty Robinson. But this guy really, really reminds me of Cam Hayward. He really reminds me of Cam Hayward. 6'5", 317-pound senior. This guy is so strong. I mean, like, it's going to take you to go and look at him out of uniform. Look at Y.A. Black out of uniform and his body traits. This dude's got a huge head. And that's the body is going to build around the size of your head. He's got huge hands and they're powerful. I mean, this guy is anywhere along the defensive line as far as 3-tech. We're talking in particular about, Dennis Allen's defense. Nose guard, 3-tech. He's going to be proficient at either one of them. Another one of the more highly slept on defensive tackles in this draft that you hear nobody talking about. Nobody talking about. But guaranteed after this show, it's going to be a handful of them. There's going to be a whole bunch of videos being made all of a sudden, because this dude film screams to me. He is as stout as they come against the run, can penetrate and get upfield. And I mean, the power that this guy plays with is incredible. It's incredible. This guy is a grown-ass man already. And he's going to be a grown-ass man in the NFL. And he's going to turn into basically who Cam Hayward is for the Steelers. Just I mean, I'm telling you guys, I don't want to get carried away, but he's strong as an ox with the powerful hands. He really, and I emphasize this, he really dominates his space and his position versatile. Sleeper extraordinaire, Y.A. Black, defensive tackle out of Iowa. You don't know, now you know. Go watch that film. Go watch Y.A. Black on film and come back and tell me if I said anything wrong. And my advice to you is to go check him out in interviews. Go check him out when he doesn't have the uniform on and he's standing straight up. This dude is a grown man. And you just know what this is going to turn into once his body really starts to mature. You're going to be looking at a 325-pound stud, period. That's going to be plugging your defensive line for a long time. Would love to see this guy in a Chicago Bears uniform because I know you got straight up stability along that front for a long time. Check out Y.A. Black. I'm telling you guys, you're going to love this kid. I promise you that. But that's it. Let me see. My fault. But that's it, man. I'm going to bring my guy FFG on when I see him get on screen. And we're going to get ready to wrap this thing on up. Hope y'all enjoyed it, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me get to, hold on for a second. Let me change the screen up a little bit. Get my guy up here.
There we go.
Yeah, what up, man? So what'd you think, man? Anything stick out to you?
Well, I saw a lot of options in the later rounds that we can actually take quality players that may or may not be on most people's boards. And that's where you want to get the finds. That's where you want to make your draft picks count. And so for Ryan Poles, I hope he's doing his homework. Rauscher and all these dudes, that are supposedly going to build the trenches, Dennis Allen, his boys. I'm hoping they're all doing the same thing that you're doing right now. Looking at every possibility and what they want and how they're going to use them to exploit the competition going forward.
Yeah. So any one of those guys in particular really stick out to you at all?
There was a couple. I really like the kid that was from Nebraska. I think position versatile is where they're going to maintain. So they're not going to be able to be down one player and be out, or lesser than going forward. Just like the guard, center, tackle cats that you had up there. I want position versatile players. So right tackle go down, left guard go down. I got a cat that's already dressed. Run you behind in there, get us out the game. For a half or a quarter, whatever. I don't want a whole bunch of position-less players. They only can play that one position, and they can't do anything else. That's why Matt Pryor was so dominant last year for the Bears, because he played all over the line and helped us out. As bad as that line was, he still made it presentable each week.
That's another thing about me doing this search and presenting these guys. It goes. I think you just touched it, and having guys be able to flex and be position versatile is about as appetizing as a piece of bacon would be in front of a hungry, starving dog. That's how coaches think when it comes to position versatility. They need guys to be multiple and flex, because you never know. You never end the season with the 5 you start with on the offensive line or the 4 you start with on the defensive line, right? You never end the way you started. So you need guys that can move around and be multiple. And so that was part of the mindset when I, pulled these guys up and made these guys part of the show, making sure you get guys that can move around.
No, there's a lot of quality players that you brung up that don't get enough, I would say, notoriety. because of who they play for, where they play, and where they're on TV schedule. You know? So there's a lot of players that we don't even get to see that are studs, you know, unless you really, really focus in on that one team and get to see that one guy every week, you don't know. And so that's one thing I do love about this option that we provide on Friday or Saturday night, that we get to relish in all these quality, not potential starters, but quality backups, regardless. There's no like, oh, well, he's going to be a project. We're going to have to train him. And is it going to be 2-3 years before he sees? No, we got people that already play the position, can move into multiple positions at one time in a game if they had to. And that's what I want to see. That the Bears are versatile, that we can come at you in different waves and different types of things, that everybody knows the same system.
Dudes like JJ Pegues, dudes like that, different ones, YA
But
Black, Ty Robinson.
Pegues is probably the biggest switchblade in the draft that nobody talks about, because he can play on both sides of the ball. You don't see that very often.
He is a real, what a treat, man. Like you're gonna enjoy. You put the name JJ Pegues in YouTube, you're gonna see all kinds of offensive highlights, him running the ball, him playing quarterback. It's gonna be a treat to watch. But then you get down to the nitty-gritty of watching him play his primary position, he takes a second fiddle to no fucking body. Straight up, man. He's gonna be great at his primary job, but knowing that you got this Jimmy Two Knives that you can do anything with, you got a tool. As a football player, that just expands what you can do. We got a creative offensive coordinator now. I could see a guy like that getting drafted and then figuring out him bugging the coach.
Right. He gets in
put me in on offense. You know what I can do, coach, man. Let me play. Give me the ball. I'll show you.
Yeah, I can see if you in tackle eligible, catch a pass or something like that, where we're catching teams off guard. But these are great. What I would say is why I would trade back, build up that day 2, day 3 stockpile, where you can get a lot of these dudes to come in the building once you have a couple key pieces in free agency that are going to be stalwarts, and then you can build right in behind them, just like the coaching staff. So everybody's going to grow together. You feel me?
Yeah. Illinois Jones has a question. I'll let you take a crack at it if you want it. He says, would you trade Tyreek Stevenson for a late first rounder and take Will Johnson at 10?
No, I wouldn't. No, not the reason why I wouldn't take Will Johnson at 10, because I can get a better corner later.
You said it might be.
I'm trading for a late first. If I'm trading for a late first.
He said one might be high, say a second.
Well, if I'm getting a second round draft pick, then yeah, I could trade him. But I wouldn't trade him just because him and Eberflus didn't work out. That's his ability is a great man-to-man corner in which he's going to be tested on this year. So this is where you're going to see where he excels. Up in somebody, jockstrap all day long. And that's where you want him to play. That's where you want him, that aggression to come out. Where he's not going to get a lot of penalties because he's going to not be playing zone constantly. He's going to be shadowing whoever he's got to go left and right.
I think 110% Illinois, that this is not answering your question, but this is just me layering something onto it, is the fact that we got Al Harris now. And I got so much belief in what Al Harris brings to the table, and being able to get the cornerbacks to the whatever level they haven't reached. I got high confidence in what he can do with a young Tyreek and letting him reach his real potential. Not to say that I don't like Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson he's a lockdown corner. but he plays a lot of zone concepts, and that's not a lot of what we do here. He can play man too. Like one of my kids around here that I train is on that team in that secondary. I ain't gonna say his name yet, but he's balling too. He ain't coming out now, but he'd be out in a year or two. But yeah, they do a great job with the DBs at Michigan. I'm familiar with the coach, and I like Will Johnson. I don't think he's the best corner on that team. I think he's the best corner on the team right now. I don't think he's got the top end ability that a couple of those other guys got. Just want to say that. But Tyreek Stevenson, I have utmost confidence in him. And I think, to be honest with you, I don't see, like, Tyreek Stevenson is one of those guys temperamentally and the kind of attitude that he plays with that you need more of those kinds of guys. I'm not talking about the silliness that, we've seen on the field this year and some of the, some of the stuff that comes with, spicy, seedy ass players. He brings that to the table. And I think under Al Harris's tutelage, I think we can see the very best of what I know Tyreek Stevenson has in him. But if they ended up trading him for another pick, I also wouldn't be mad. But, I would love to see him rise to his level that I know he's got inside him right here in Chicago. I really would want to see that, man. I love that guy's attitude, man. He is me. Really, that's how I played football. I just wasn't, I had my head in the game until the last whistle. You know what I mean? That's the difference between him and me, but the same spiciness. I played with it.
Yeah, you want to see that kid get to his potential at a low rate while you got him, and he's already made mistakes, so you don't have to pay him top dollar because he's a number 2 corner too. So you're going to let that play out for the next 2 years. Seriously. And you got his backup already ready to play corner or safety, so we had that 3-headed monster at corner. We just need a 4th one. So that's who I'd be trying to draft in later rounds. Another quality corner.
Let me ask you a question, FFG, and I'm not only asking you, I'm asking everybody in the chat, anybody that has a thought or a comment about what I'm about to ask. This is about me doing the daily content. What would you rather see more, me evaluate the talent on the team currently, or are you more interested in the prospects and what we could be bringing onto the roster? Would you want to see the roster breakdowns about these different players and how they might fit with these new coaches, or would you rather see a whole lot more draft prospects? I'm asking you, and I'm asking everybody in the chat too.
Well, we've got to a lot of the people that are basically the bubble players that we haven't actually got to see play based on the current coaching regime that we've been under. So we still need to evaluate those players. But I would love to see complementary players that could fit in the schemes that we have now, because free agency is coming up.
So you want to look at some of the opportunities in free agency right quick? I can get to I'll get some of those out tomorrow.
Yeah, free agency would be the best because the draft ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So free agency would be the next step, because right now they're evaluating the talent on the team. That's exactly what they're doing. Determine who they want to keep, what kind of position type of situation works best with their new offense they're going to build. And Dennis Allen already has a beat on his defense on how he wants to build that from the inside out. So those are the kind of players that we want to know about. Me as a fan, and probably the fans too, because that's going to help reshape the draft. So all these people are already trying to, do their 7 mock draft and all that kind of stuff. Don't waste your time at this point. I mean, it's fun to do it just to guess, but we really want to see what they can bring in the building in free agency to supplement what we already have. And that will determine the draft more exactly than anything else that I see going forward, because that's where we always want to see how many picks we're going to have left, what we actually, if Ian Cunningham gets a job, all these different little things need to come up in the next 2 weeks or so while the combine is getting ready to start and go on. And then boom, it's, free agency period, which we're going to have to sign a bunch of people right away. So they need to be breaking that down.
Yeah, well, Cornelius, I got a couple comments in here so far. Cornelius said he wants to see the prospects. And then Illinois Jones has a comment. He says, can wait for the draft talk until after the combine. Breaking down the new coaching staff would be cool. That's okay. I feel you. The one that really the coaching staff, the one that's really sticking out. Y'all know I'm a defensive guy, and I can't wait. I love talking about the defensive line. And that defensive line coach really sticks out to me. Of all the guys since we grabbed Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, the defensive line guy really sticks out to me. The O-line guy does too, but the D-line guy really sticks out to me. And, the connections that he has and the relationships that he has, I think is important in relation to the free agency period that's about to come up. There's going to be some guys in Jacksonville that may come up and be up for grabs. We're not talking about them right now, but I can think of a couple of guys right now like Ledbetter down there. You know what I mean? He's not like the blue chip guy, but you're talking about filling up your roster and getting quality guys that can flex from edge to defensive tackle. That's a guy from Jacksonville. I can't think of his first name. All I know is Ledbetter. He's one of those guys that our new defensive coordinator has had his hands on. And so he's a free agent coming up, man. So here's another comment. Flex this says free agency up next. Then we'll be able to nail down what they'll go after in the draft. I think you guys are right, man. Maybe I should really key into some of the opportunities in free agency, man. I may have some different takes than you guys. I already did one where we was talking about Chase Young in relation to some of these other opportunities to get an edge rusher in the trade or free agency, and I explained why I think Chase Young makes a whole lot of fucking sense. Everybody takes that the way they want to take it, but I'm not down on Chase Young like a lot of people. I think he's the perfect situation for us right now.
Yo, did I freeze or something on the screen?
No, you good. I'll hear you.
Okay. Maybe mine's just not going. It just look like I froze.
All right, you got anything?
It just looked like I froze. I was like, dang, I look like that. Because my contact was messing up on my left eye. So I was like, man, did I freeze?
Anything else before we wrap this baby up?
Yeah, I really think that the next most important thing that we have to do is figure out the direction of the team based on how free agency goes and what we can possibly get. And we can swing for the fences, but at this point, I wouldn't. I would get quality players in here. They're going to last 2, 3, 4 years and get their backups in place, so it's going to be a continuous. So we can get a guy, work him, draft a guy, get a guy, work a guy, draft a guy, get a guy, work a guy, draft a guy. So we're not going to always be beholden unless we get one of those, two, one every 2 guys. Oh, they a 10-year player? Great. Fail. But
so I was trying to get to who Ledbetter was, and thank you for that, MC Fact. He went and checked it out. Jeremiah Ledbetter, defensive tackle out of Jacksonville. Very, very productive guy. Not a whole lot of people are talking about him. Matter of fact, nobody is, but you logically can see how the connection might work. You know what I mean? You can logically see that. He's a tweener. He's primarily a defensive tackle, but he can definitely give you edge reps. Those are the kind of guys that are going to be attractive to, Dennis Allen. That's probably a short I'm going to have to make later on, or a video that I'm going to have to make, making the connection make sense. What are the traits that Dennis Allen looks for? We already did that. We showed you guys what kind of body type that he's always looking for along his front. Jeremiah Ledbetter is perfectly suited to come in here and be a plug and play kind of defensive tackle and edge rusher in this defense, man. Jeremiah Ledbetter, nobody's talking about him.
Hey, the more people that don't get talked about, the more people that don't get put out there on the news and everybody's searching for him, the better off we are, because we're going to save money in free agency and get some steals in the draft. That's what you want.
Another thing that I would love to point out, and this is not me trying to take a shot at nobody, you got to understand what a lot of podcasters are doing right now, and a lot of people making content are doing. They're ginning people up. They're just ginning you up and for the clicks. You know, who wants to talk about Myles Garrett? What's the opportunity with Micah Parsons? Man, dude, come on, man. Come on. Number one, we ain't had no conversation about how attractive you guys realistically think in a trade situation or a free agency situation. Guys like Myles Garrett have clauses in their contract. You know, does he want to, does a guy that has options see Chicago as a place that he wants to come to? We ain't nobody having that conversation yet, but we're gonna have that shit over here. We're gonna have the shit tomorrow. As a matter of fact, on Nomad at Night with my guy Kids, we're gonna have all those conversations tomorrow night, man. And this is stuff that we need to be talking about. It's not as simple as we would love to make it be in our heads about where we are as an organization. We also have to contend with the fact that we see it close up. Being a Bears fan, we see it a certain way, but we may not see it the way we ought to see it as far as outsiders' views are concerned. People that's looking at Chicago from the outside, say if you're Myles Garrett, say if you're Micah Parsons, say if you're, what's his name? The defensive end from
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, how do you feel about coming to Chicago? How do you feel about coming to Chicago? Is Chicago the destination that the Chicago Bears fans think it is to the people on the outside? And that might be a tough conversation. That might be a tough conversation, to be quite honest with you. But it's a real conversation that we need to have.
It's not because if you're any one of those pass rushers, you already know you got a dog on the other side, and you got an aggressive defensive play caller that's been running ripshot over the league for the last 15 years. So you're not worried about if you're a defensive player, you want to come to Chicago. And if you're an offensive player, you might want to be in the funnest offense on the planet. So we got it on spades. The only real problem we have is special teams and making that something special with the players that don't get to play every day. So them cats need to be no joke.
Well, let me answer something MC Fact is saying. MC said we need to analyze who Dennis Allen is. Bend but don't break, ? Cover 2, ? Aggressive attacking defense. 110%. I thought I did no. I thought I did a pretty good job. They tack up and they play man-to-man. That's the base concept. You got to be a proficient man-to-man cover football player. When you're a linebacker, when you're a defensive, when you're a safety, when you're a corner, you're gonna have to play man-to-man because that's just he's more one-on-one, cover 1 than he is cover 2, 3, or 4. He'll fall back in the cover 2 when he feels like and this is just me answering you, MC Fact. He'll fall back in the cover 2 and cover 3 when he feels like he has a defense on his heels. I mean, the offense on his heels. He'll play that high, 2 high safety, cover 2, cover 4 zone when he needs to. But that's when he has the defense reeling. But 9 times out of 10, that base defense is really getting after the quarterback with 4 or 5 and tacking up and playing man-to-man cover 1. That's what they do. That's a huge break from what we saw in Matt Eberflus was basically cover 2, cover 3. Cover 2 or cover 3. That was his comfort zone. And that was bend and don't break. This is more attack and don't give up the big play. And if you give up the big play, be aggressive about it. And so you'll probably see a whole lot more. I wouldn't say a whole lot more. I hope not. But you'll probably see more big plays or big shots being taken down the field against this defense than you did against Matt Eberflus because he was more, let's play it safe kind of defensive coordinator. This coordinator has a completely different mindset. He wants to come downhill and get after you and let the defense play offense pretty much. And so that's the difference between him and Dennis Allen and Matt Eberflus. Illy says he'd love to see Trey Smith come here. Not, yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. I'd love to see him come here, but not for that kind of money. Let me see. All right, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here, man. Any last comments before we roll up out of here? Any closing thoughts? Be pithy.
You know what? It's gonna be enlightening to see how they treat off season this year more than anything else. For a team that should be winning with a lot of talent and technically having the money and the draft capital to turn around a franchise that only needs certain things, not wide variety. We need this, we need that, we need, all over the place. We're specific. And now that we got teachers and actually quality coaching in the building is what I want to see show out more than anything else the Bears have coming this season is the coaching aspect of how we see the team progress and get better and understand what they're supposed to be doing every single day.
All right. So, hey man, listen, I want to close it with this, and this is just some real Nomad Network stuff. Really trying to dial it in and trying to really generate the kind of content that everybody wants. We were really good at doing podcasts, giving a whole bunch of feedback back and forth between the viewer and the people that do these podcasts. We really love you guys, man. We really respect you guys. This community that we're trying to grow over here, and what we do is all based on, the ability to be able to land the content on you. You know what I mean? And so what I mean by that is we're really trying to key in on the kinds of content that you guys would want. And that's why you hear me asking particular questions tonight. FFG was on the outside looking in not too long ago as a viewer, and he told me certain things that I took heed to. You know what I mean? It's just he says certain things to me, and I listen. And you guys say certain things to me, and I listen. And so does everybody else on the network. We're gonna take this thing to a different level this year, man. We're gonna raise the amount of content you guys are receiving from us, and this is like the first week of us giving you really everyday content. That's going to keep coming. The variety of it, what we'll be talking about is going to be all over the map. We're going to be talking about stuff that I know that you guys want to hear about. Understanding what the pulse of the Bears fan base is part of what my job is. Understanding what you guys want to talk about, what you guys want to hear about. You want to hear from somebody that played the game and really watches tape and knows this stuff. You ask me certain things, I'll answer you with certain answers. This is just something I know that I can give you guys on a regular basis that I know you guys would enjoy. And this is just me telling you guys thank you. And we appreciate you. We listening, we watching, and we hope you guys keep giving us feedback, man. Keep chiming in. And if you're new to this channel, and if you hadn't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Don't be selfish. It's just a button. And you're helping a good group of guys get along, man. We're going to gin this thing up and give you all the content you want and you need. And it's going to be coming on a more regular basis. That's my commitment to you. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep coming in droves. Trust me when I tell you guys. But with that being said, I want to leave you guys with these famous words. And you know what? Before we get up out of here, let me do this for you guys. Hold on. Because got a little new video and I wanted to play it for you guys. And this is this. That's some extra sauce on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. We're starting to get together and starting to get some individualized, stuff for all the shows that we got. We had all the stuff that my guy Chris Washington did for everybody. He did some great work. And those, like I said, those intros aren't going anywhere, man. Chris Washington's legacy will remain alive over here on this network. I guarantee you that. But we gotta transition it into some quicker stuff so that people don't get bogged down and like, all right, I love their content, but I don't want to watch the shit. The intros are too long. We listening and we're gonna do something about it. And that's just a promo for some extra sauce on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. So don't forget that show. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll be live at 8 p.m. Central for Nomad at Night, where we'll get into all this Bears conversation. And you never know what happens when me and kids and whoever else we put on the show, what happens when we get together, man. So with that being said, I want to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, people, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. But do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.
Peace.